And welcome into a Tuesday night edition of the LowcoSports Lowdown, and what could be the last edition of the LowcoSports Lowdown in 2025. Today, the penultimate day of the year. Wes Kerr alongside Max Arise. We might do it tomorrow. Still, uh, we probably will, but not definitive because I'm not sure what everyone else is going on tomorrow. But we do have the championship game, the championship Wednesday to look forward to of the Bobcat Classic, which will feature the hosts, the Bluffton Bobcats, taking on Benedictine, which we will get to very shortly as we recap what has been another uh, action-packed day two of hoops in this annual holiday tournament. No girls tournament this year, just boys, but still a lot of action to recap as we get ready for tomorrow's championship. But welcome you into this Loco Sports Lowdown Tuesday night show. Wes Kerr alongside Max Araj. And Max, didn't see you last night. So how have you been doing? How was your Christmas? And did you have a chance to relax and spend some time with family?
Yeah. Got a lot of time with my fam. Probably more than I wanted to, but hey, it is what it is. But yeah, it was a good Christmas. Excited to get back to work yesterday over in Beaufort, and now just got to watch all the games today over the Bobcat Classic alongside with Marcus Welch, who will be
Very nice.
joining us soon. And got to watch some good basketball games today. Some really good ones, especially between Bridges Prep and Hilton Head Prep, and the game before the one that ended the night
Yes.
between Bluffton and Hilton Head Christian, the Islands versus
Oh, really?
Benedictine game, which was
Yeah.
a fantastic end to the game. Thought it was a game winning field goal for Islands, and then Benedictine answered right back with time expiring to get the win, and they'll be probably taking on Bluffton tomorrow in the championship game.
And they
Uh,
will. Bluffton Cruise. It was not
yeah,
close.
they definitely cruise.
16-35 over Hilton Head Christian. So Bobcats will meet the Cadets of Benedictine, and as you mentioned, a thriller as the Cadets knocked off Islands
Yeah,
54-53 on that game-winning layup. When you hear a little bit more about that, both you and Marcus Walsh, who should be joining us shortly, back on the road from the Bobcat Den. But tonight's show presented, as always, by Mickelson Law Firm, our all-star sponsor, original sponsor, official real estate closing attorney, presenting sponsor of our Hilton Head Christian Academy coverage. You can call on Mickelson Law Firm for all your legal needs. And as well, our other all-star sponsor is WHHI TV, our great partners in local sports journalism, the only television station devoted exclusively to covering the Low Country. You can keep up with the latest news on WHHI TV. It's available through Spectrum and Hargray, or it's streaming online as well. You can do either, and it's streaming online at WHHITV.com as they are just a few weeks out, or really just a few days out from basketball really ramping up over
yeah.
there with Marcus Walsh and company on the call as we are on the road to region play very soon. But first, we've got a couple more days of holiday hoops action, including what was a thrilling day, as you mentioned at the Bobcat Classic. We also got some wrestling to talk about, the finals of the US Shark Invitational. We're hoping to get our friend Nathan back on the show to key us in on what happened there. And speaking of which, he is in the studio in the green room. So why don't we, since he is waiting, let's bring him in now. Um, and we welcome into the show. Nathan, how are you doing?
Doing good, sir. It was a great day of wrestling. Excited that the tournament is wrapped up. It was a great day to get out there, watch some wrestling, record it too. Good wrestling all the way around. It was just as good as I thought it'd be.
Nathan Fury Burn. We talked to you yesterday. You get to hear of what you've been doing over there at Ohio State and your prowess. As our good friend Marcus Walsh, back from the Bobcat Den, is about to join us here in the studio. But we want to get you on, Nathan, since you were ready and in the green room. Talk to me about how it finished up in this day two, this final day of the Shark Invitational, and any surprising results?
Something that really was surprising was that um, that two May River wrestlers were both wrestled at 106, which I mean, having your B team wrestler go against your wrestler and the first round of your and the for the finals of the for 106, that's really impressive for any school to have, especially the competition you have from all these schools that are all around. You got upper state teams, you got Georgia teams, so having your B wrestler wrestle your main wrestler in the finals really goes to show how good your team really is.
And his favorite team has shown that they have the ability, they have the depth in order to bring some guys you wouldn't expect to be right in the mix in a big time tournament. So take us through some of the results and some of the names of the guys that you've seen that took home the titles here today.
I won 113. The winner who took it home was Andrew Manlove from going against Bryce Butler from May River. I'll say this: even though May River lost this match, May River was on the finals that I saw every single time I looked at a finals. There was always a shark up there. Andrew Manlove, if I remember correctly, I think he just let me just double check again. Yeah, he won by major decision. Winning by 11-1. He just really goes to show about how much of a good wrestler he has, especially from South Effingham. Those Georgia schools they're very very good wrestling schools right there, and he really showed why his high school is as good as it is. Then at one. And then the 120 placers were Tyreek Bailey from South Effingham and Raheem Skyers from Ashley Ridge and Talon Winker from Ridge were the top three placers right there. The 130 match was really really down to the wire. It came down to a 4-1 decision. I remember the match. It was really really good. I think Bailey knew he had it in the bag and just kind of stalled it, just kind of waited it out. Great wrestling there from the 120s. It was a really good match to see from the finals, especially South Effingham taking two
Mm.
taking two finals in this tournament. That's really good for them. And
Another
then
powerhouse program over there in
oh,
Georgia. That has really showcased a lot. So, we may not have the Florida, the Tennessee, teams from beyond, Savannah region or maybe Southeast Georgia, but you're still seeing a lot of talent within these squads, right?
oh yeah, amazing talent. A lot of these guys are such great wrestlers, especially seeing, watching the day ones. You saw, before they came on the mat. Just in the first period, you could really tell who was going to match up. But in these, for the final matches, you really couldn't tell. Most of those matches could have gone either way. The 132's top three places were Luca Phillips from Ashley Ridge, Eric Jackson from McIntosh, and third place from South Effingham, Mason. It was actually by pin for Phillips against the number 2 seed Jackson. It was a really good matchup. I thought. It also does. It's got to suck for Eric Jackson. Being a junior, losing to a sophomore, and especially by
Mm.
pin.
Oof.
But I'm sure he's excited. He still has a lot of the season left, so I'm sure he's looking forward to that. Definitely
Yeah,
watch film mistakes that he made in that match.
yeah, exactly. You use this opportunity to learn about your game, your weaknesses, what you need to do in terms of uh, you know, improving on a couple of early potential mistakes and miscues. But obviously, you're going up against some quality opponents, so it's just a great opportunity for everyone to get better and compete against some quality competition. And this tournament has always been it's become the marquee event early on this season. We have the one at Hilton High as well, but this one is really, and I think a lot of that is just about May River has become the gold standard here in terms of wrestling here in the Low Country. Obviously, with the state championships in their name now, so they've earned that. It's on the resume now that they are the team to beat in the Low Country, the team beaten 4A. But you see the quality of competition continuing to heighten over there, and as you said, a couple of matches that could have gone either way, could have swung in either direction. That's what makes these tournaments very exciting. I love the duels. I love when the teams are going against each other, but when you get to see the cream of the crop going up, mano a mano, best on best, that's got to be really exciting for you.
Oh yeah, really exciting to see these matchups. Seeing just two guys. The serve's not for the state championship, but it sure does feel against all these teams. this is just it, honestly, I always consider the May River Invitational to be a state championship just without the divisions, because these are all guys from the state of South Carolina and also guys who are just on the and
Yeah. It's kind of like the Daytona, in a sense where it's a big early I mean, I guess maybe Daytona's probably in NASCAR is probably the biggest race of the year, so maybe not entirely the best comparison, but it's a big proving ground for these wrestlers, and there's a lot at stake to set the tone for the remainder of the year as we move forward into the meat of the season. But talk to me about some of the other local finishers. You mentioned a couple of May River guys. Any other standouts in terms of the local level?
well, I do know that for the 130A and the 144 both went to Lucy Beckham schools. You know,
Right.
I think they're
Yep.
good on their own. A Hanahan and Hilton Head Raisler placed 2 and 4 from for
Yep.
150. Florencion
Florence.
from and Hanahan Jackson Stuckery, second place finisher right there. Fort Mill Lincoln Green ended up taking it home for the 157. A River first place finisher,
Okay.
and Eight Najar in sixth place. Really good. The Creeks really, losing Rutherford at the beginning of the year, that definitely hurt the team. But
Yeah.
I found the guys to be able to step up on this team, and I'm really excited to see what they can do. Come time region play when they really just work around their just little mistakes that they had made sometimes.
Yeah, I think Creek's gonna be a big factor again this year. That's a pretty impressive finish. To place as high as he did over there, in this big time tournament. I mean, that's certainly doing something with that level of competition. And Creek's been a great program to watch. Someone who's been around wrestling the loco scene for a while. I'm sure you know about the history of Creek just in the last few years, and a couple of guys who have really made their name known in that program, that have gone on and just represented the area well. And this Battery Creek program, I think, is going to be in good hands again. But your thoughts on what you've seen, in particular, from May River as they look to defend their championship this year.
May River finished their team score. Let me see it. Yeah, finished the team finishing in third place. That's really impressive,
Yep.
because behind Fort Mill and Ashley Ridge. Uh, those are very, very tough schools.
5A school.
Very, very, very good wrestling schools. Fort Mill is 5A, 4A school. I forget what A is Fort Mill currently at.
I don't. I'm pretty sure they're 5A. But let me double check into just to be sure. But yeah, I know Ashley Ridge is 5A because maybe we played in football this year, and there was definitely a 5A team. But yeah,
Yeah, but right there, if Ashley Ridge is 5A, these are teams that you're not really going to see again. May River, your goal is to win your tournament. I mean, sure, you didn't win it, but you definitely won
right.
by local. These are teams locally here,
Yep.
Bluffton, the year that was local was Bluffton High, and they were all the way in ninth, and they were at almost 100-point difference. Bluffton having 101.5 points, and May River having 195 points. So that's really good to see, especially because May River, especially for May River, because you're going to see Bluffton again later down the road, especially individuals.
Yep.
These are 100% sure of it. You're going to see these guys again,
No
but
doubt.
luckily, to go out there and win state duels like you did last year.
Yeah, that's the goal, obviously, and I think they put themselves in a good position to attempt to do that. And Ashley Powell is a tremendous coach, and I think what is the most important is that he gets these guys ready to go. This tournament really is a big factor in saying, okay, we're gonna put you against the best possible competition we can find here in this area, or at least some of the best competition that you'll find, and we'll see how you do. And that really is important for them to learn a lot about themselves. And I think this May River team is. I mean, they've reloaded so well. If I mean, placing third in a tournament like this, as you said, losing just West Ashley and Fort Mill, two tremendous 5A schools, two good wrestling programs. I think they're in great shape to compete for another 4A championship, or at least be there deep into it. No doubt about that. They will be fighting, battling deep into the team bracket. I would think so. From what I have seen from the Shark squad, and Ashley Powell looks like he is going to be building another formidable roster, which I'm looking forward to covering as we get towards end of January, early February, and to those state championships will come up sooner than you think in these next few
Okay.
weeks. But Nathan, we kind of talked about it a little bit last night. Um, we mentioned your story, your experience at Ohio State and playing some football. Max wasn't here for it. He was not on last night's show, but we mentioned your accomplishments. Leading that Ohio or helping lead the Ohio State club team to a national championship. But talk to me a little bit more about your favorite memories with that. We kind of touched on it a bit, but expanding on just what it was like to go and also like kind of tell me about how the playoff format and how that is kind of works in terms of the schedule of that season and how the championship format is set up and just the memories that you've had being a part of that team.
Well, the way the playoff format was is we originally had two teams beforehand. I think Clayton State, a team in
Yep.
Georgia,
Yeah,
uh,
Peach Belt Conference team.
another team that was in the city last year, but both of those top two seeds did end up leaving after that year. Ohio State last year actually did end up playing them in the national championship and beating them in an
Mm.
upset off a last second stop at the goal line for
Uh,
Ohio State to win the game. So those two teams left, and the league didn't see it coming, so they had
mm,
to make changes. So instead of it having a playoff, it was conference championship straight to national championship.
mm.
So imagine NFL style. You have your conference and you have four separate divisions.
Right.
The four separate divisions on on each side of the bracket. So we were in a division against Toledo, who's a very respectable team, very new but
The
very very.
Rockets.
Yes.
Um, Toledo. Oh, and no, not Michigan State. Michigan State was on the other side of the bracket. And Wright State. Wright State was the other team in our bracket, and coaches always told us throughout the whole season, these are the two teams you have to beat to get to the next. It doesn't matter if you go undefeated up to that point. If you
Mm,
lose those, you are done for the playoffs, and you are not
mm.
going. So going to those games, we really had to make
Yep.
sure we were. I'm pretty sure we outscored those teams around double the score through most of the games. So then we went straight into conference play, and we actually played our conference against Michigan State, who we beat earlier in the year. But we were a little on the heels when we played Michigan State because Michigan State had gone on a run where I think they were outscoring opponents around. We played them week 4, and when we saw them in the playoffs, I think they had outscored their opponents like 90-2. So
Mm,
going up, was really worrisome. But we did end up handling the game very well. I'm pretty sure the final score was 48-7, 48-14. We handled it, and then we went straight into playing the other side. And the other side of the bracket is mostly teams around here. South Carolina Gamecocks actually does have a club football team. I originally was planning on playing for them before I ended up leaving. Before I ended up Coppin State and Columbus State. Both, I know Coppin State is in Baltimore. I think it's also in the Virginia. Um, those were two very, very good teams, and we knew honestly from week 1, we knew we were going to play them in the national championship game. So for that week 1, as soon as we figured out that Coppin State actually won 21-20, Columbus State bench goes so he scores he three touchdowns unanswered in the fourth quarter with about 10 minutes left to go. A kick extra point, missing the extra kind of came. Um, we watched as Coppin when we honestly just immediately started watching film on them because we knew this we were going to see. And we were going out there, we were off to a really rocky start. Our quarterback Nico Papas, who was actually the MVP of NCFA club football, he threw an interception quarter, but he was like, "Don't worry about it. It was on me. The ball slipped. happening at the state. He actually would end up throwing the ball a lot to our starting receiver Ricardo Washington, who ended up winning the national championship MVP for that game. He's a really good guy. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if it's true or not. I heard rumors and I kind of talked to him a little bit about it. He didn't really say too much, but I'm pretty sure he might have got an offer to just try out for the Columbus Aviators, the UFL team that's coming up to Columbus. So I don't know if he got a walk on spot there, but I'm pretty sure he did try out, and maybe we'll see when roster time comes if we'll see a club football player on that UFO Aviators team.
Pretty cool. Yeah, that's like we said last night, just a really awesome experience to be a part of, and there are opportunities there that you see if guys find a way to make their presence known. You never know what could happen in terms of getting a shot potentially on that varsity team. I mean, it's you mentioned it last night. We've seen it happen before. So it's just, and even other than that, it's just great excitement, camaraderie to be with these guys, and the competition in that club level. I mean, you got some standout high school football players that are a part of this, and so it's certainly an honor and a big accomplishment to do what you guys have done
Oh yeah.
for that program. But you've been a part of high school football here in the Low Country, and just want to hear your thoughts on. Were you able to follow just some of the games, the storylines of what happened? Obviously, Hilton had a great run this year, but a couple of other squads are very competitive. Carleton Prep made it to the SCISA state championship game this past year. Bluffton and May River had solid seasons, so were you able to follow anything that was going on? And then of course Hampton County getting the state championship game over in Varnville. But were you able to follow any local high school football from this past year? And
Oh yeah, I texted a lot of my friends, throughout the season. I was texting my friends over at Battery Creek. I was texting my friends over at Beaufort Academy, just asking how the season was going. Um, Carleton Prep run for the playoffs was honestly maybe a little surprising for me. When we played Carleton Prep, it was it we won by, I think the final score was around 44-20. I ended up having 4 sacks that game. It was my best game of my career. But then when I found out about it, it really goes to show about SCISA, about how different it is from high school public league. From public, you normally know who's going to win. When May River would play some small 1A school or play some small 2A school, or like May River versus Battery Creek, you would go in that game, kind of expecting what was going to happen. But in SCISA, with private so different, with, you can go, I'm not saying recruit, but you can go look at different guys and say, hey, would you want to come play for us instead of this? With all of that, it's really different because you can see teams that just got like blown out of the water throughout the first like 5 seasons of their career, bring in some new guys. Next thing you know, they're in the state championship. That really just it's so different. It's so much different than SCISA than it was for public. New teams always on the up and come. But yeah, Colton Prep, they had a great season. I didn't see that though, but congratulations to Hampton County. It's always good to see a local team win a state championship here. I don't think we've had one since
yeah,
Beaufort High.
they got to the state championship, fell short to a very good Strom Thurmond team, and the
Oh,
score was the game was a lot closer than the score would tell you. There were a couple of just mistakes and turnovers in that state final against the Rebels, but yeah, as you mentioned, tremendous year for the Canes once again. But of course, Hilton had a tremendous run, and the Sharks of May River and the Bluffton Bobcats also very competitive, a competitive game against each other near the end of the year. But tying it back to wrestling, which is why we're here. As a football player, talk to me about how important and how helpful it would be to see more football players, who aren't playing basketball, delve into the wrestling side of things and just use that strength training and toughness to get better on the football field. How what are the most exciting and best benefits in terms of wrestling for as a cross training sport or just for an athlete in general? How important are the benefits of what wrestling can bring to an athlete?
Wrestling is one of those sports. If you're a football player, you want to do wrestling. I mean, maybe if you're a skill guy, I would get why you would play, well, play basketball over football. But if you want a sport to stay active and stay healthy, I promise you, wrestling's a sport for you. Especially how much work you're putting into wrestling is uncomparable to any other sport I've ever played. I've never gone through a practice where I wasn't exhausted and tired. But for football, some practices on and off would be a little difficult, but wrestling every single day you're in there working. The one thing you're working, if you're a D lineman or O lineman, I will highly recommend wrestling to you over any sport that you can possibly do.
Right.
Yep.
Wrestling, and offensive line, defensive line, you're working your hands too. When I first got to Battery Creek playing D line, I wasn't really that good. I wasn't really there. But as soon as I did wrestling, I came back. I noticed a huge difference in my hand fighting. I was able to move my hands a lot better. If you're a lineman and you're in the off season here, basketball is maybe not for you. You're maybe not the tallest. Do wrestling, and I promise you, it will show out on the field. It's such a sport that can transfer over from football to wrestling. The way you move your hand, the way you move your body, always keeping the center of gravity. Wrestling is a sport that if you don't play another sport, do wrestling if you're a football player.
Well said. Well said. Very, interchangeable those skills, especially when you're on the line. I mean, just having that physicality is such an important component. Max or Marcus, any other thoughts or questions for our man Nathan?
I'm just definitely excited to hear your reports for sure throughout the wrestling season. I'm a guy that covers football, basketball, baseball. I dabbled. I told you a little bit about what I did in college. Dabbled in a little bit of wrestling coverage, but it's great to have somebody that knows the ins and outs and really has been there, done that to certainly help these guys out and to
Um,
help the rest of us learn a little bit more about the sport.
Uh, Obviously, with the Shark Invitation on the rear view now, we move closer to the meat of the region schedule and some other duels. But what's coming up next as we head into the new year in terms of big time duel events or matchups on the radar for some of our local teams that you know of.
Oh, a team I'm really looking forward to in region play is honestly May River again. I seen this team. I see how many the depth that they have on that team is incredible. Seeing so many B teams go to tournaments just as fillers, so you can say you don't have 29 teams, you have 30 teams in bringing your B team. But May River's B team came in and showed up. That was really depth is key. Wrestling is a very physical sport, and you don't know when you could lose your state champion wrestler or your number one seeded wrestler randomly in a dual match that you had no clue, dual match that you really weren't worried about. Next thing you know, you're scrambling to find that extra 5, 6, find those points.
Yeah. I mean, duels are so exhilarating, especially when you see the guy, the unsung hero who gets it done, wins a big match, puts his 6 points on the board, that end up being the difference. Because you never know what match could be that swing match and determine the difference to determine on which team wins. And those are the fun part of duel. I love going to duel matches and just seeing all the gamesmanship, the chess that goes into it in terms of which wrestlers you put where. There's a ton that goes into to all the decisions that are made and just the excitement on the benches. It is one of the most exciting sports in just terms of the energy and excitement when it gets tight in a very close duels match. So I'm really excited to get out and seeing some wrestling duels very soon as we head into the new year. But May River looking solid, strong third place finish, as you mentioned, the Shark Invitational and another tremendous event. Before we let you go, just talk to me about the excitement and just the palpable energy that you saw and how awesome it was taking this tournament with just the energy that you see over there every year over there at the tank.
Every year, like I said, it was a tournament you look forward to. You're wrestling guys who had all divisions at all levels. You're out there wrestling. But it was really nice this year. Not being as a competitor, you're checking flow. Who am I going to match up against? Who am I looking at? Okay, so my next match is going to be the person I'm better wrestles on this match. I'm going to see what he can do. But it was really nice as a spectator and a commentator to really take a step back and look at the whole tournament as a whole. And it's really just really amazing to see all these wrestlers. In the sport of wrestling, it's always been a gentleman game to me. I've seen people who just got blown out of the water by guys. They'll go up, they'll shake hands, then after they'll find each other after the match and just review what happened for each of them. Talk and laugh. I remember a lot of guys I wrestled. I wrestled one time and like how it was going for him and how the season was. Wrestling is a great sport because it's everyone knows each other normally. You go get you see and you normally always talk, especially in the same region. These are guys you're going to see multiple times, so you normally get together. I always consider wrestling to be like a game, and it's glad to see that it hasn't died because I was seeing so many wrestlers go up to each other, just talking about matches, stuff like that. So it's a rarity you see from any sport other than wrestling.
Well, I think it's grown. I mean, it hasn't just grown; it's really lifted off so many different areas around here, and we credit Revenants Wrestling, our presenting sponsor, Loco Grind, for all they do with that, and really taking wrestling to the next level around here in the Low Country. And we thank you, Nathan, for keeping tabs on everything that was going on over at the Shark Invitational this week, and we thank you for filling us in on all the proceedings, and we wish your Buckeyes best of luck tomorrow in the college football playoff quarterfinal against Miami.
Thank you so much for having me.
Indeed.
All right.
OH.
IO.
Good man.
Go. All right. We thank you, Nathan, for joining us, and we will shout out some more sponsors now. Our next group of sponsors, we welcome back Hudson Seafood House in the Docks. It's a local booster club. It's a great place for seafood, sunsets, and cocktails on Hilton Island. Presenting sponsor of Under the Bus. New episodes coming soon after our holiday break. I think next week, as they will be getting back in the saddle and getting ready for some more throwing of names under the bus. I'm sure there'll be a lot of them since we've taken a couple of
I would
weeks
think.
off. But that's coming up on the Local Media Network. Twinge and Twombly, personal injury attorneys, rare name, remarkable service. And Hilton Island Windows and Doors. Coach Barron, former Hilton Head Prep basketball coach, improving your view of the Loco. And speaking of those Hilton Head Prep Dolphins, they were in action today among several other of our Loco teams at the Bobcat Classic, day 2.
Right.
And some exciting results, including the one that you mentioned in the thriller between those Savannah schools. An incredible finish between Benedictine and Islands.
Yes.
In a game-winning layup as Benedictine found a way to get it done in the clutch. They won it
54-53.
54 or 1-point game, 54-53. Talk me about how that one went down, Marcus.
That was, back and forth. Islands got off to a little bit of a slow start, but once they got their shot going and they were able to put some pressure on Benedictine, they really were able to make this a physical basketball game. There were a lot of fouls and just more physical play today in all of these matchups. But that Islands team has a little bit of grit, and that's what we're seeing with a lot of these teams too, especially with the fact that a team like Hilton Head's not in this tournament, and some of these other teams are down a little bit. We are seeing grit upon grit upon grit upon grit, and I've seen it for the entirety of the tournament, and I'm going to be at the full day tomorrow too. Was very impressed with Hilton Head Prep. They started off a little bit sluggish, but it didn't take them long to get going, and they had a big 63-60 win over Bridges Prep. Bridges looks, despite not having the numbers that they once did, to me they look impressive, and they're going to definitely make some issues for some teams. Like I said, Benedictine and Islands battled, and that was a fun game with a game-winning layup. Coaches were going nuts. Fans were going nuts. Max was there for part of the game with me as well.
Fans
was
going
definitely
nuts.
something.
Was there a good turnout from who made the trip over from Savannah?
Yeah,
It
great
was a
turnout.
good turnout, a very good
Fantastic
turnout
turnout.
for sure, and a
Yeah,
great
should be,
turnout
And
certainly
when
for
should be,
when
the
should be
last
a
Marcus
lively crowd.
but
Yeah, go ahead.
well, I was gonna say when Marcus says the fans were going nuts, that is an
It's an
understatement.
understatement.
A major understatement. I get back.
It was
I
something.
get back for. Well, I went to go grab some food, and I come back at right as the third quarter begins, and I mean from the third quarter on through the rest of that game, boy, it was loud. It was loud in the den for that game. It was a fun game to watch. It was very like Marcus said, very physical, very foul driven kind of game, but it was a fun game nonetheless. We had some good games today.
Should be a
The
lively crowd
one
tomorrow as they will face the hosts, Bluffton Bobcats, who
and
made
indeed,
quick work of the Hilton Head Christian Academy Eagles 60-35. Kind of what I expected. The Hilton Head Christian Academy, found a way to win their first round game a day ago against Hardyville, but certainly Bluffton, with its offensive prowess, a whole different challenge there for the Eagles as
not
Bluffton.
Yeah.
not
Bluffton
only that, Wes, but I go back to what JJ told me yesterday, and certainly in seeing, Hilton Head Christian Academy with my own eyes as well, they were able to shut down Jake Wood. And Jake Wood was the key contributor for HHCA. Obviously, Finn Ussery, a few other guys certainly were able to do a lot of things. But this Bluffton team is on a little bit of a different level despite the losses that they've had. And they were able to shut Wood down. They were able to shut Ussery down. I mean, HHCA got theirs, once in a while, but it was really Bluffton's from the get go, and it was certainly Bethesda's from the get go as well, as they won 62-42 over Hardyville. And we'll see what Hardyville has tomorrow, and if they can end up getting a win in this tournament.
Yeah,
But
they struggle.
not
They've been
looking great,
struggling,
Yeah,
and
they'll
big time.
I'll say
They
this
just
about
haven't had it.
Hardyville. Hardyville did not play in a tournament before Christmas, so they have not played
Hmm.
really for the last almost 12 days going
Right.
into the tournament. So
Hard.
they hadn't had a lot of games played, so they're coming back. They're a bit sluggish. Clearly saw that against Hilton Head Christian, and then saw it again today. But the one thing I would say is the ball handling for Hardyville was an issue today. They were just struggling, very, very sloppy ball handling, and just could not seem to get the offense going. I think they're gonna I think they're gonna figure it out by tomorrow. Because let's remind everyone, this team is 2-0 in region play to start out the year. I mean, they beat what is a very good Bamberg team. They beat out a decently strong Bridgeland team as well. So they can, they've beaten Bridges Prep before. So they're not a bad team. They're just struggling in this tournament just because they haven't had a lot of practices since before Christmas, and they haven't had any games until now. So, it's a slow start for them.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, just trying to get your feet wet early in the year. So, it'd be nice to be able to get one and beat Bridges Prep tomorrow. But, certainly, I think that game will be competitive. I think Hardyville will come to play and keep it close.
And hey, they've already played each other twice this year. They played at Bridges Prep and they've played at Hardyville. A best of 3 now, being that they'll play each other
Did they
tomorrow.
split the first, or have they? What happened?
They have split. So Bridges won at home, Hardyville won at home. So this is a neutral site game.
All right,
which is
so
really
yeah,
fun.
awesome.
Anybody's
Yeah,
game.
I love how
literally.
that happens. You get the rubber, because sometimes you only you see a team twice and you split, and it's nice to have that rubber game between those two teams to see who takes the third one. So that will be intriguing. That's a noon tip if you're able to get there, starting a bit early.
I think both of us will be there for that game.
Yep, New Year's Eve tomorrow, starting a bit early, so noon tip.
Do we have the exact? And I wasn't able to jot them down. I didn't see it.
Yeah, so we got Bridges Prep,
have
Hardyville,
everything listed there?
starting today at noon for 7th place. You got Hilton Head Prep, who were winners today, 63-60 for Bridges. They will face Bethesda in a little Skeeza matchup for 5th.
Yeah, that's a region. I think that's. I don't know. Are they in the same? I don't know if they're in the same division or not.
I knew at one point they were.
I think prep is
years ago, a
3A
couple
for
years ago, I knew
basketball.
they were. I'm not sure if they are now because the basketball regions are completely different than the football regions. So it's sometimes
Right, because
difficult to remember.
Hillnet Christian's 4A, but I don't know. I
Yeah.
think Bethesda's either
can-
2A or
I can
3A,
let
so
you
they
know
would
in one
if they're
second.
so there's a
I
chance
got
they're
the
both in the
regions
same
right in
region.
front of me right now. We get Hilton Head Prep. Bethesda's 2A, Prep is 3A.
3A, that's right.
Yeah. Prep, St. John's Christian, Patrick Henry, Carlton. Prep is 3A Region 4, and then
Oof.
Bethesda 2A Region 3 is Bethesda Cross Schools, Buford Academy, Holy Trinity, Thomas Harrod, Andrew Jackson.
I'll tell you right now, I think that Bethesda team is something special. Like I see that Bethesda team making a deep run in Skiza playoffs this year and potentially a state title game. For Bethesda.
When
They're
you
really
look at
strong
2A,
team.
you look at the competition they can play in 2A. I think Bethesda is in a really good spot.
Yeah.
I don't think
And I
Buford.
wouldn't. I would say for prep too, even in their 3A, I think they can cruise through their region. But I'm intrigued to see when they get to playoffs because this is a much different prep team than we have seen in recent years. I mean, they're not bad, but they're not what they were. Let's say last year
like
with
Ty Harpering.
Ty Harpering.
But we got Prep Bethesda, and what should be all these games should be fun. So because I think Bridges Prep Hardyville, that's anyone's game. I think Prep Bethesda should be exciting. Islands Hilton Christian Academy, that might be a toughish one.
Yeah, that's a bit of a for me. That's a bit of a mismatch. That Islands team, despite that loss,
that's probably the one mismatch of the day.
Yeah,
with Islands Hilton Christian Academy, but
although I will say this: the one thing I like about Hilton Christian, despite their loss tonight against Bluffton, the one thing I noticed with Hilton Christian, they play a lot like prep these days. I mean, they play that fundamental passing game, slow kind of offense. They move the ball around a lot. I mean, they move it around that half court with precision. So, like, I see a lot of Hilton Christian in prep as well. Like a very, very similar offenses. So, but despite that, yeah, I agree. I think it's a little bit of a mismatch. That Islands team, they got some height to that team. They got some size, and they're I think a little more physical than what Hilton Head Christian will be able to handle.
Yeah, I think Hilton Head Christian Academy right now, you're starting to see some good strides from some of those guys offensively, but I think Islands just a little bit more. So I expect Islands to get the job done there, but Bluffton Benedictine,
that should be fun.
This will be a big time test for Bluffton. Benedictine coming in and found a way to take down Islands in a nail biter in that 1-point win with the game win layup. But I think Bluffton has shown by the first 2 games that they still have the guys that are going to challenge this Cadets team tomorrow. I think this one should be very exciting and a big statement opportunity for the Bobcats here at home to try to win their home tournament.
Yeah,
without question. And
they won.
They
beat
real
Prep
strong
last year, correct? In that final.
Yes.
Yep. So a chance for 2 in a row.
Yeah, which will be interesting. That Benedictine team's got. I think the reason I think that was such a good game between those two in Islands and Benedict, very much alike. They got some size, got some strength, some physicality on that team. I think Bluffton's going to have a tough fight against Benedict. I think that the guard combo for Benedict can hold down Harry Skinner and some of the other guards on that Bluffton team, and should remind everyone this is a Bluffton team, despite them being still really good. I mean, they're down their two of their top players, of course, for the rest of the year in Carnell Warren and Aiden McCarthy. That's always going to be a struggle for them, especially as region play begins, because those 3 teams of Hilton Head, May River, and Bluffton. It's going to be interesting to see how Bluffton can fare against those teams without 2 starters that they've had to start out the year, not having them for the rest of the year. It's going to be interesting. I'm intrigued to see how they do against Benedict, because that's a very Benedict's got some size on that team. Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Bluffton can match up with Benedict.
Yeah, that one should be very intriguing. I'm planning to get there. Looks like it'll be a 4:30 tip on tomorrow.
I wish they were streaming this tournament on YouTube or something, because
I know that.
The
Yeah,
Bluffton,
obviously our good friend Javon Livingston, who is taking some well-earned time off.
Yes, he does. He has
Yes,
deserved it.
yes, yes, for
100%.
sure. But yeah, no, definitely, if it is well worth the price of admission if you're
yep.
Yeah.
able to get there
Marcus
4:30.
So
Marcus seems to have a question.
Yep.
we're looking at 12, 1:30,
Yeah. So
3, and
Bridges Prep
4:30
Hardyville at noon, Hilton Head Prep Bethesda
roughly.
1:30, Allen's Hilton Head Christian 3, and then Bluffton Benedict 4:30, and of course.
Dang, I wish I could
Uh,
be there for that last
Those
one.
are and those times might be pushed back. They normally are because
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah, they usually are.
they're
yeah,
definitely approximates.
yes.
We're looking at playoff basketball, especially with the way yesterday went, and even
So
today.
expect
Although
those,
the
yeah,
flow of
expect those
today
games
was
to
better,
start.
you they aren't going to be exactly 90
Yeah.
minutes.
But there you go. Should be an exciting final day um, of the Bobcat Classic to wrap up 2025. It should be a nice way to put the capper on on this year here at Loco Sports. But we got some more sponsors to shout out to Revenant's Wrestling Club, official wrestling sponsor and presenting sponsor of the Loco Grind. Jay's Barbershop, the place to be in Ridgeland, whether you need a haircut or not. All right, it is time for our parting thoughts, and we will begin with Marcus Walsh.
Tell you what, guys, it was another fun day for sure in the den, and really looking forward to tomorrow. These coaches, they literally put their blood, sweat, and tears into making sure that these kids, follow through with what they're trying to teach and make them better men. And I've noticed one thing, obviously, a lot of it goes back, and I sound redundant, but back 20 plus years to when I was in high school. But I've noticed one thing through it all. Certainly, that basketball is a contact sport. It is definitely a sport of physicality and toughness,
Yep.
and there are some big guys that can play the game and play it really well.
Yeah.
I look at a guy like Britchkey. I mean,
Yep.
he is just a tremendous big guy that we see. Obviously, we see what he does on the football field. We see what he does on the basketball court as well, and it's it reminds me so much of what March Madness truly is.
Yep.
At on the surface, I will say now because we have the NIL that we have to deal with in
Right.
college.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's just there's nothing like it. In addition
Yep.
to what I was talking about last week, and even last year, yesterday as well, with what I do as far as scouting. Um, Basketball is just such a unique game and such a great game, and certainly glad to be a part of it. Looking forward to tomorrow, and then looking forward to watching Ohio State hopefully knock off Miami and
Yeah.
starting 2026 off with a bang. Get to see my parents for the first time in about a
Awesome.
month on Thursday, so
Fantastic.
really looking forward to that too.
That is awesome. Great to hear that, Marcus. What do you got, Max or Raj?
Obviously, I finished off 2025 with a bang, watching my Atlanta Falcons win last night
Let's
over
go.
the LA Rams.
How
I was
about
very happy. And for some reason, they always seem to play better in their throwback unis, which is what they played in last night. I don't know
Just-
why. I've
Just
still never
imagine what
understood
could have
that.
happened if Kirk Cousins played the entire season. Now,
It's a great question. I honestly I don't know how to answer it because I like Michael Penix. I think
right.
Michael Penix could be the future for the Falcons, but I still think he wasn't fully ready to be the next quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons just yet. I think I needed another year of him, learning from Kirk Cousins because that is a great veteran quarterback to learn from in Kirk Cousins. And I think, having a little more time to get ready. Obviously Kirk didn't finish out last year on the highest of notes, and it's kind of why they put Penix in and basically said everyone Penix is going to be the next quarterback to start off this season. And
Yep.
I think I would have loved to have seen what Kirk Cousins could have done, but I still think for me I'm still kind of concerned, the inconsistencies. I think more so not with the team or the players, but more so the coaching. I've just seen inconsistencies with the team, but despite that, they got a great win last night. Next thing I know, I look up and it's a 21-0 game, and and then of course, in Atlanta Falcons style, decides to give me a heart attack by letting the Rams come all the way back and making it a
Yeah.
ball game.
Goodness, did they ever?
And so, but it was a great win for the Falcons. I think it not only does it help the rest of the teams, including the Carolina Panthers. It helps them in some big ways as well. But it was a good win for them. Great win to start out my year. And then of course you got college football starting tomorrow night, and of course I am missing the last game of the Bluffton Bobcat Classic because I have to work tomorrow.
Oh no!
So unfortunately, I won't be there for the Benedict Bluffton game. Although I was looking very much so forward to it, but it's going to be a great way to end the Bobcat Classic and head into the new year. And then, of course, college football is going to be some good games in college football. You got, of course, Miami, Ohio State tomorrow night, and then you got Oregon, Texas Tech, Alabama, Indiana, which I'm very excited to see.
Oh, the Rose Bowl.
And then, Ole Miss and Georgia, an SEC matchup in the quarterfinals, which I think will be a fantastic game as well.
I think even Texas, Michigan, which is tomorrow, has a chance to be.
Texas, Michigan is going to be a great game. There's a lot of stuff going around it, especially with Michigan.
Yes,
their new head coach, Kyle Whittingham, the former Utah head coach, who we thought he had retired. Like he had basically stepped down from Utah, and then a couple weeks later became the new head coach, which I think is a great hire for Michigan, is to have ex-head coach. I think it's a fantastic hire for them. But a lot of great things to end out the year and start a new year. So I'm very excited for all of it. I'll of course be out for the first few games for the Bobcat Classic, and then I'll leave it to Wes and Marcus to finish the job out covering that last game, and
looking forward to it
between Bluffton and Benedict. And like I said, I wish it was on YouTube for someone. Not even be zone, but someone stream it on on YouTube or Facebook Live or something like that.
That would have been pretty cool if they were able to do that. But looking forward to catching it in person. Yeah. For my parting thoughts. The National Football League today announced the finalists for the 2026 Pro Football Hall of Fame class, including some legends, including Drew Brees, Larry Fitzgerald, and my personal favorite, my man Luke Kuechly, who put together a spectacular career and one of my favorite. Obviously, as a Panthers fan, one of my favorite athletes ever, but certainly, I think a lot of football fans can appreciate what he brought to the table and the career that he put together. I just remember, because I remember where I was when it happened a couple of years ago. I think it was like end of 2019, early 2020, when he announced his retirement. It was very unexpected. It was a shocker when it happened. But, certainly...
But, I don't blame him. It's a very physical sport. Injuries can cause some. We've seen before. A lot of people have seen what some serious head injuries can cause: concussions, multiple concussions, and not just mild concussions. Some pretty serious concussions, and we've seen some players that have really. We've seen the aftermath when they retire from football. What those head injuries do, and what multiple injuries, not just head injuries, but injuries all over the body can do after retirement. And, I don't blame players for retiring early, and especially Luke Kuechly. We all know how physical of a player that dude was. He was a hard-nosed tackler. Someone who was no one wanted to go up against. You saw him in front of you, you just dived to the ground. Let me sit down right here. I'm fine. I don't want to go any further. He was one of those kinds of players, and I don't blame him for retiring early. And as someone who I 100% agree with Wes, he should be a Hall of Famer 100%. And I'm very happy that he's in the conversation. The funniest thing is, one of those players that could have been in the conversation for Hall of Fame this year, but will not because he played football this year, was Philip Rivers.
That's right.
Philip Rivers could have
Very
been a Hall
true.
of Famer this year. We got to wait until I think 2030 to
Yeah,
see Philip Rivers
that's
become a Hall of Famer.
that's crazy. Just because he came back for a couple of games with the
Yeah,
Colts. But, we'll have
it's
to
so
wait
funny.
2 more years.
Hey, hats off though to Philip Rivers.
Yeah,
He won't
yeah.
be starting
Props
this
to
coming
him for
Sunday,
what he
man.
did to
Props
come
to him.
back and put together a tremendous effort for the Colts.
Yeah, he was great.
Yeah.
It was fun to watch
Yep.
him. It was fun to see him on the field again, throwing that football, that sidearm throw. Nothing quite like watching Philip Rivers play some football and get fired
Good
up during
stuff.
a football game.
Very cool, but
What a career.
yeah, tremendous
Yes,
career.
what a career.
Yep. Many years with the Chargers and went to the Colts and then came back. So, we had some other names. Mentioned Breeze Fitzgerald, Frank Gore, tremendous
Ooh.
career.
Yeah,
Yes.
With the 49ers. You got Eli Manning also making his as a finalist. Terrell Suggs, tremendous linebacker for the Ravens. Torrey Holt, Adam Vinatieri, Reggie
Oh,
Wayne,
Vinatieri.
and
Yeah.
Jason Witten from the Dallas Cowboys.
Great
God, what a
picks.
group. What
Yeah.
a group
Wow.
of players, man. That's a great group of players
Gosh,
to be finalists and whatnot. That's a great group of players.
phenomenal.
Especially Vinatieri. I think he should be a Hall of Famer 100%. One of the most elite kickers in the history of NFL.
Well, as much as I hate him because he made the kick against Carolina. And,
Yeah.
I remember that quite well.
And Terrell Suggs too. God, what
Oh,
a group of players, man.
It wouldn't shock me if all of those guys get in at some point. It's just
Oh yeah,
obviously imagine
there's no doubt in my mind.
who's getting in
There
here.
is no doubt in my mind that even like people will hate on Eli Manning, but I believe he's the Hall of Famer 100%.
I'm with you to infinity and beyond, Max. He
Yeah.
deserves to be in the
He
Hall of
deserves to be a Hall of Famer, despite how how the end of his career went. He should
Right.
be a Hall of Famer. He's a 2-time Super Bowl
Fame.
champ.
And not only that,
Super Bowls
he took
against
down,
Brady.
arguably
Patriots.
what might
The
have
best
may have gone
quarterback
down, or they
ever.
would have gone down as the best NFL team of all time had they won that game. And they probably make the debate that Patriots team still was the best NFL team of all time. But
Oh, I would
mean,
make a case for that. Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. But I mean,
obviously they lost Super Bowl, but Eli Manning beat him, and that's the biggest case that I would make is that he beat arguably one of the greatest teams, if not the greatest team of all time in this
but
era.
not once. He didn't beat him just once. He beat him twice. Like that's you beat Tom Brady twice in a Super Bowl. No one's ever done that before. No one ever did that against Tom Brady. No one has ever had Tom Brady's number except for one player and one quarterback, Eli Manning. Like no one has ever said, "Yeah, I've beaten Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl." What can you say? For those reasons, like a 2-time Super Bowl, he is probably one of the greatest Giants quarterbacks of all time. Period. Like there's not many quarterbacks you can argue with there in terms of great Giants quarterbacks. I think Eli Manning deserves to 100% be in the Hall of Fame, and I think he will get in the Hall of Fame eventually.
I think you're right on that take, but great NFL Hall of Fame class, and we've got
Fantastic.
We got some Lowco players looking to cement their greatness tomorrow, and in the finals of the Bobcat Classic. Obviously, we got a couple of exciting games early on, starting at noon tip off, which should be a good one between Bridges Prep and Hardyville. And then you got Prep Bethesda at 1:30, Islands against Hilton at Christian Academy for third, and then the championship should be a good one between the Bobcats looking for another Bobcat Classic title against the Cadets of Benedictine. So I will be there for the finale at 4:30 or whenever they tip it off. Could be later than that, but not sure. Not sure if we'll do a show. Since I think I have plans afterwards that
I think I have plans
tonight.
as well.
So we might reconvene on Friday night and do a show. I think that would make the most sense. So if we do not do a show before then, I will be the first to wish everyone a happy New Year and a happy 2026.
Do you guys
Happy New Year, everyone.
Well,
Yep.
without question. And to y'all, looking forward to seeing you both out there.
Yep.
Sounds like Max, you're going to be there for the first couple or few games. I'll be there for the duration because I don't have much better to do when it's all this stuff. Somebody's got to be out there to report it all. So I'll be
Yeah.
out there scouting and doing the usual. With Sam working tomorrow, it works out well too. But what a year, fellas!
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
been great, and looking
A
forward
fun one.
to much more.
Yep.
Tomorrow and then into 2026.
Yeah, a lot of great moments this year. Hilton Head football had that tremendous run. Hampton County, the state championship. USCB men's basketball,
Yeah.
that incredible run to the finals of the Peach
Great
Belts.
baseball and softball.
Hilton Head Prep, Hilton Head Krish Academy, Hilton Head HHGA going
titles.
back to back,
Yeah.
winning state titles. So lots of exciting moments. Looking forward to a lot more in 2026. So we will be there for all of that here on the Loco Sports Lowdown. So for Marcus Walsh and Max Araj, we also thank our guest, our guy Ethan Chaveria Byrne, for joining us to recap the Shark Invitational. So once again, for Marcus Walsh and Max Araj, West Kerr, wishing everyone a happy new year. And until next time, go Loco.